My name is Joel Justice. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the chief of the police department for the district, and that's Lieutenant Bert Gutierrez. He's the one in charge here at Moore Park. So today, I'm presenting to you on active shooters, what you need to know, what you need to do. And as we talk today, at some point during this presentation, you guys are going to get confronted with an active shooter. Only this active shooter is going to shoot Nerf bullets at you.
Oh, no.
It won't hurt, so it'll just kind of show you how this goes down, okay? Whatever you want to do. Okay. In the 1970s, there was an average of 1.1 mass public shooting per year. 1.1. It's not very high. 1.1 too many, but not very high. In the 1990s, that more than tripled to 4 incidents per year. And it keeps increasing. And I will play a little video for you right now.
Jefferson County 911.
Yes, I am a teacher at Columbine High School. There is a student here with a gun. He has shot out a window. I believe one kid I've been
Columbine High School.
I don't know what's in my shoulder. If it was just some last week or what.
Okay, has anybody been injured, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the school is in a panic, and I'm in the library. I've got students down under the tables, kids. Heads under the tables. Kids are screaming. Some of the teachers are, trying to take control of things. We need police here.
Okay, we're getting them there.
Police here.
Who is the student, ma'am?
I do not know who the student is.
Okay.
I saw a student outside. I was in hall duty. Oh, dear God. Okay. I was on hall duty. I saw a gun. I said, what's going on out there? And he said, oh, it's probably for video protection. It's probably a joke. I said, well, I don't think that's a good idea. And I went walking outside. I think he was down to see what was going on. He turned the gun straight at us and shot. And my God, the window went...
Okay, so you can see how quickly these events unfold. Okay, so as I said, in the 1990s, that rate more than tripled to 4 incidents per year. An average of 11.4 active shooter incidents occurred annually between 2000 and 2014. 486 people were killed. 558 wounded. 32% of the suspects used... No, I don't want anybody hurt. Okay, good. Thank you. Can I have my bullets? Thank you. Thank you very much. Jam? Is there any more rounds? There should be one more. It's orange. Yeah, find the bullet that... Okay. So, as you can see, these things unfold rather quickly. I mean, I got it, thanks. That's how fast these things happen. And I do that, not to scare you, but I'm going to give you a plan. Pretty real, huh? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Even though you knew it was Nerf bullets, it really gets your adrenaline going, and it gets you in the moment. It's as close as I can get you to an actual shooting without having an actual shooting. So I wanted to show you how your adrenaline gets going. In that Columbine video, did you hear the lady say, everybody get underneath the tables, get underneath the tables? She was given directions. And that was the best we had at that time. Although if we tell people to get underneath a table, they're sitting ducks. We're asking them to be a target. So we got to be smarter. And that's what I'm going to teach you, is how to help your students and everybody. The rate nearly doubled to 20 incidents in 2015, 2016. Horrible. And it keeps rising. 231 casualties, 92 killed, 139 wounded. 24%, a little more than 24% of your active shooter incidents happen at an educational facility, a school, 1 out of every 4. Granted, there's a lot of schools in the United States, and so that means the chance of it happening are pretty slim. But 1 out of every 4 active shooters is at an educational facility. It means we need to prepare for it. We have sprinklers in the ceilings for fires. And can anybody tell me when the last time we lost a student to a fire in a classroom? You're right. It's been over 100 years. I think in the 1800s we lost somebody in a school in a fire. But yet we practice. We have drills for it. We practice for it. We have sprinklers. So this is your sprinkler. This is me supplying you with things to do in case you get confronted. The active shooter fires 1 shot every 4 to 15 seconds. That's a lot of people he can shoot and kill. They have a 70% hit rate, and police officers have a 50% hit rate. Does anybody know why that is? They have more targets. What else? What's that? Yeah, to protect the innocent. Police officers have rules also that they have to abide by. They have to stay within the law. They have to stay within department policy. They have to account for every round they fire. So when they go to like a shooting review board or the Ventura County DA's office, because they'll investigate that, he or she has to account for each and every round. Who did you fire it at? Why did you fire that round? And so they have to, that stuff is going through their minds when they decide to shoot. Active shooters have more targets. They don't have rules. 60% of the active shooters end before the police even arrive. The average police response is about 11 minutes. 11 minutes. That's probably why 60% end before the police arrive. A lot of them end when they hear the police coming, they end up taking their own lives. 13.1 of them are taken down by an unarmed citizen and restrained for the police. So what does this all mean to you? It means you got to have a plan. Have a plan. If I can teach you anything in this class, it's to have a plan. As a police officer, I am taught when I walk into a room, I look around. I kind of scout the place. I look at the people that are in the room. I look at my windows. I look at my doors. I look at my exits. You got to have a plan, and that will help your survivability tremendously if, at a minimum, you have a plan. You saw when you got confronted with the active shooter, I saw a couple of people pick up a chair, and that's a good thing, and I'm glad you didn't throw it because I don't want anybody hurt. But you felt like it, though, because it's very real. And that's a good thing. It's better than not doing anything. And also, students, people that work with you, they're going to get confused. It's very chaotic. Some of them will freeze. And so they're going to be looking to you for guidance. Tell me what to do. What should I be doing right now? What would you do if confronted with an active shooter? Do you have a plan? Has anybody thought of a plan? Yes.
Well, I took this last year.
Oh, okay, good.
And I started just keeping my door locked.
Good. That's a good.
I just, because I know if somebody gets in, I'm going to freeze. I froze. And so we have those things now, and I just keep the door locked.
Does everybody know what those things are? The lock blocks? Okay. Anybody not know what they are? The lock block is a rubber, like a slide. I don't see one in this door. Anyways, it's a rubber slide that keeps your door from completely shutting.
So the handle stays locked.
So you can lock your door and shut it, and people can still get in. If you have an active shooter, something that triggers you to believe that you or your students are unsafe, you slide that back and you shut the door and it's locked.
So
Yes.
instructors should be instructing their students how to do that.
Yes.
Okay, so you're the instructor and I went to one class and it was awesome. Every student in that classroom knew how to just pull that box.
As an instructor, your first day you should talk about emergency preparedness. If the building goes up on fire, this is what we need to do. If we get confronted with an active shooter, this is what we need to do. And kind of brief the students, because they're going to freeze just like a lot of people do when they get confronted by that Nerf gun. So what I teach is what the FBI and Department of Homeland Security teach, and that's run, hide, fight. I teach you how to run, how to hide, and how to fight. Pretty simple. Although I don't teach fighting, because fighting is a perishable skill. I teach you to counter, and we'll get into that. I teach the ALICE program. Alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate. Maybe not necessarily in that order, but that's the things you want to think about. Alert. Get the information out. When you hear gunfire, get the information out. Call 911, call the station police, let your peers know, let somebody know. You've got to tell people. Has anybody here heard the sound of gunfire? Okay, so you know what it sounds like. Even for trained officers, sometimes they can't distinguish between that and a firecracker or a backfire. If it's somewhere on campus that's not near you, you may be thinking, was that a gunfire or was that a firecracker? If you're thinking those thoughts, call us. Let us decide, because if you wait to decide it's gunfire, it might be too late for people. So give us a call. We don't need everybody in the room to pick up their phone and call 911, but we do need somebody to call. And as a teacher, or if you guys are working in a cubicle, say, I'm calling 911. You lock the door. Give out directions. Give people something to do. Yes, sir.
At the new faculty orientation yesterday, we were talking about medical emergencies.
Uh-huh.
It's optimal to call campus security first.
Yes.
In case of gunfire, should it be campus security or 911?
Your best bet is to dial 911. That's going to go right to us anyway. So okay. It's going to go to dispatch, and then they're going to get a hold of us.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, it's that quick.
Okay.
When you call 911, stay on the phone, because the person answering that phone is going to have a lot of questions. Which direction is he going? How many shots did you hear? Things of that nature. Let staff and students know. Let everybody know. You should already have talked about your plan. Let's do our plan. We're going to go this way. Be specific with plain language. Don't tell them, well, he's in the LRC building, because you may have a new police officer at the station. You may have, this may be conveyed to deputies who are also responding from our dispatch, because we will notify them as well, and they may not know we're LRC. You got to, as best as you can, pinpoint that location and get people that specific information so that they can get there as quick as possible. Lockdown. Okay, if you decide, and it's a personal choice, whether you decide to lock down or whether you decide to evacuate. If it sounds, here's what I always suggest. If it sounds like it's far away, then you want to evacuate. You don't want to evacuate in your car, because that creates a bottleneck, and if there's two people working together and they want to kill as many people as possible, you're giving them a lot of targets, because people are just going to stack up in their cars. Okay, so you want to flee on foot. You want to have a rally point. Although I'm talking about lockdown now, so we'll keep it to that. Lockdown. You want to shut your doors and you want to lock them if you can. If you can't, there are things you can do to doors to hold them. I'm sure somebody has a belt on. Do you have a belt on?
Yeah.
Okay, somebody in your classroom will have a belt. If you have to, wrap the belt around the handle and have somebody hold on to it really, really tight. And if you do, you don't want to stand in front of the door and hold that, because if he shoots through the door, he's got access to your room now. You want to lay on the floor, lay down and hold on to it. Put your feet, brace your feet on the wall, and hold on to it with all your might. And that way, it makes it extremely difficult for him to come in. Each classroom has computers, they have cords, belts. You can wrap them around locks. You can take tables and pin them up against the door and tie them off with several belts, with cords, belts, whatever you have. You want to barricade the doors so that this person can't easily get in. And I'm talking if you can't get it locked. The best thing to do is to lock it. But if you can't get it locked, you want to barricade it somehow. I would take all these tables and I'd pin them up against the door, one right after another, So that way, if he's to get through, he or she's to get through. I don't want to discriminate. We have had female active shooters. So if they get through, you want to make it extremely hard for them to get through and encounter you. So you want to barricade the doors. Lock the doors. We talked about that. You want to determine your escape routes. If you have barricaded, that doesn't necessarily mean you're safe. Granted, you've put doors up. And so what if the person comes in and they start knocking over your tables? You want to figure out another way out. So if they're coming through here, you might want to go out that way. Or you might want to go out the window. Does anybody know how to break a window? What the best method for a very big window is to break? Chair. Where? If you throw a chair at that window, it's going to bounce back and hit you. Big windows, they're a little flexible. You want to hit a window with something very, very hard at a corner. It's the best way to shatter a window. I hate to tell you to break school property, but if it's your life, by all means, break that property and let's get out of here. If you barricade in place, you want to turn off the lights, lock the doors. You would want to turn the shades. You don't want any light in here. You want it so that there's no light. You've seen it when you've gone from light to dark or dark to light. Your eyes take time to adjust. And theirs will have to as well. And it gives you that split second while they're trying to adjust their eyes to enact your plan. Turn your cell phones to vibrate. You don't want him thinking, okay, there's nobody in this room, and then all of a sudden somebody's cell phone goes off because their mom's worried about the active shooter and they're calling you, and all of a sudden you're do-do-do-do-do. And then for sure he knows you're in there and he's going to go back to that room. So have everybody turn off their cell phones. Don't huddle together. Don't get in one place because you're making it easy for him to use you as a target. You want to spread out along the classrooms. Like I said, years ago during the Columbine, we used to tell people, get underneath the table, because that's all we knew. But you don't want to do that. You can turn tables up, and maybe if you have enough to barricade the doors and turn a few up so people can hide behind them. But remember, bullets will go right through this. So you want to enact a different plan rather than hiding behind that or bunching together. Yes?
Can you just talk to the point that we have a lot of classrooms that the whole side of the wall is glass? How would you encourage those instructors, so the door is here, which has a little glass part. This whole area is beautiful to look at, but
Yes.
it's a setup.
Right.
And so if it goes through the desk, how would you tell an instructor to arrange that classroom?
Did you have a
Well, I
question?
was just saying, I taught my class to pull the person who's sitting in the back corner seat, pushes the button to drop the white shades, and then they drop the other shades too, as soon as the active, while somebody's doing the door. And then if we have to go out, we have the white shade and the other shade if we have to break the window so the glass breaks into that shade or curtain or whatever it is that comes down.
But I'm talking about those bullets will go through that glass, so if they hear anybody or any commotion, how do you spread your class out? Do you set desks that are folded up, and bring your class to the back end? Do you understand? So it has to go through.
You want, if you've got to lay in place and you've got a lot of windows, you want to lay down. You want to get people lined up so that the person comes in, they have to go boom, 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 not boom, 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 boom. You know, it's a lot harder to go all the way, to fan all the way around the room. As I'm doing this, if I'm shooting over here, it gives you guys here time to attack or to get out that door. So I would definitely say spread out. And like she said, first thing you want to do is lower the blinds. If you have to break the window, get somebody to grab that blind and pull it out while somebody else breaks the window, because the blinds are going to make it harder to break and shatter that window. So you'd want somebody to pull those aside. If it's quicker to open them up, then open them up. If it's quicker to have somebody pull it back and break a window, you gotta remember, if they're getting in your classroom, they're starting to get past your barricades, you got to go now. You got to do this really, really quick. Remember, you cannot force a person to leave your classroom. You cannot force them to lock down. If you're in a classroom, you say, okay, everybody Shelter in place, you lock the door, you close the blinds, you lock the other door, and then spread out and lay down throughout the classroom. Somebody says, I am not having it. I am out of here. What I would do is I'd tell them, look, you are going to jeopardize each and every one of us. I suggest you lay down like I've asked. If they decide to leave, there's not a lot you can do. They're going to go. So just keep that in mind. Inform. Pretty much like alert. You want to utilize mass texting. We are in the process of trying a mobile app at Ventura to notify everybody of emergency incidents. Oxnard has the lanyard. I like the mobile app better. If that works, I'm sure we're going to bring it here to Moore Park. I think that's one of our best options. But you want to notify by mass texting. Notify everybody you can. You want to tell them who, what, when, where, how. That's basically the questions you got to get out. Who's doing the shooting? Do you know? I don't know. I have no idea. I hear shooting. Okay, well, how many rounds have you heard? Does it sound like automatic gunfire? Do you guys know the difference between automatic and not? Automatic is going to be rapid, really quick. Bop, 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 bop. The others, you have to pull it each time you fire the gun, and it takes a little bit of time. You can fire in rapid succession, but automatic gunfire, you're going to hear bop, 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 bop. You can't possibly pull a trigger that fast. That means they pull the trigger once and hold it, and it fires as many rounds as they have. Okay? Single action is where they pull it. So those are good things to know for responding police. How many shots? Oh, I must have heard 30. It sounded like really, really fast, like it might be an automatic weapon. Where did you hear it? Well, it sounded like it was down by the football field, but I'm not sure. It sounded like it was getting closer, so it sounds like they're coming my direction. Those are the things you want to let them know. If you know who, if you've seen him, you may not know the person, but he's a male white. He's in a police uniform. He's about 5'6". He's really old, and I know it's him because I saw him running down. There's two of them, if there's two. If you know. How many? Provide as much real-time information as you possibly can, because that's going to help the first responders get there. Where he was last seen or where you last heard him at, and what direction. You can sometimes tell by the gunfire which direction they're heading. If it's getting louder, they're coming your direction. If it's getting fainter, it's going away from you. Counter. This is not fighting. This is a last resort. To teach you to fight, fighting is a perishable skill. And so that takes time. And like I said, it's something you would have to practice. So what we teach is counter. Can I have a volunteer? Perfect. Come on up. Thank you for volunteering.
You can put that in your portfolio.
Yeah. All right. Okay, what you want to do is you want to counter. You want to grab them. Now, can you get away? Pull. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay. Pull. Okay. So you don't want to grab them, right? Too easy for them to break free. What you want to do is you want to grab them like this and pull them in. Do you think you can get your arm out now? Okay. See, now you use more than one person. Can I have a couple females come up here? I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I want to show you. And then what I would suggest is 4 people counter the suspect. 2 would grab it. I'm not going to do it because I'm old and I don't want to get on the ground. But what I would do is I would actually sit on his foot and I would hold his leg at the knee, just like I showed you on the arm. You know, and I'd sit on his foot. Okay, I want one of you to grab his arm and pull it into you like this. You do the other one. Okay. Pull it in really tight. Okay, now without hurting anybody, try and wiggle and get away. Okay, see, enough. See, it's a lot harder. Okay, you guys can sit down. Thank you guys very much. As you can see, that's a lot harder for somebody to get away, is when you're holding it. And if you have a couple people on the legs, if it were an actual active shooter, I would do it. I would tell a couple students, I want you two, go sit on his foot, grab him by the knee, and pull his knee into you, while you two grab his arms and pull it into you, if you were to make entrance into your classroom. And when you do that, if you've got 2 people on the legs and 2 on the arms, as he wiggles and tries to get away, he's just going to go face over. And you just lay there and hold him till the police arrive. Take control of him. Very big. The other thing you can do is create distractions. Throw things. There are many things in a classroom. Somebody was about to throw a chair. That's perfect. Throw a chair. Throw a can of soda. I don't care if it's empty. Throw anything. Staplers. I mean, you have all kinds of things to your access in a classroom. Staplers, computers, whatever you can get your hands on. Walk around, run around, yell, scream. Anything that distracts him creates a split second where he's got to say, wait a minute, what's going on? He's got to react to what you're doing, and it gives you time to either grab him or escape. Everybody remember Sandy Hook, right? The elementary school shooting. They call it the ghost apparent, something like that. The ghost situation, I think it was. One of the students, because these students were young, they were scared, and what do kids do? They scream and they run. They don't know where they're running. They just run around screaming, and one kid was able to run right past the shooter, and the shooter never saw him. Okay, you create distractions. He or she cannot focus on everything. It creates a distraction so you can enact your plan or escape. Like I said, scream, make a lot of noise. If possible, grab their limbs, like I showed you, and hold them really, really tight till the police get there. I guarantee you he'll go over, and you just got to lay there and hold him. Hopefully some more people will come help you, sit on his back, grab his weapon, things like that. Not everybody is comfortable doing that. If you have any military, police, ex-military, ex-police in your classroom, any student athletes, I would, first day of school, you look pretty big. Here's what I'm going to need you to do. You know, while we do other things, we distract them. I need you, and you to all grab a limb. Okay? Evacuate. Inform everybody in the room when it's safe to evacuate. Like I said, if it sounds like it's far away, you might want to evacuate. You may not want to evacuate the direction you're hearing the gunfire. If you see him and he's right outside that window there, because we can see out, you probably don't want to go out that door. You would want to go out this door and maybe that back door, depending on which direction he's going. Now, you don't want to run blindly out that door, because there could be more than one. And if there's another person standing out there, you guys are going to run right into them, and they're going to shoot everybody as they run out of the classroom. So what you do is you poke your head out, and it's tough to do because your adrenaline's pumping, and you're hearing gunfire, and people are screaming, and everybody wants to get out. Calm down, calm down. Let's look first before we go. You look, and then you get out of Dodge. What you need to do is have rally points. Teach your students to have rally points, people you work with, rally points, so that way we can account for everybody. So that way if Johnny, who's very loyal, and you know he was in your class, but you don't see Johnny at your rally point, it might be something good to tell the police. He might still be in there. We might need to look for Johnny. If the shooter is near, it is best to lock down. Like I said, unless he's outside that window and you can safely get out that way, I'd go that way. But if you know there's somebody there and somebody there, your best option is to lock down and barricade those doors. Rules of evacuation. Leave on foot, not in your car. Leave all your belongings behind. There is nothing important enough to cost you your life. It can be replaced, even the pictures on your phone. Do not leave in a vehicle. Have rally points. Remember, you are all potential targets, and that's what we're trying to minimize. Minimize risk to you and your students. Someone, like I said, may refuse to leave, and you may have to leave them behind. We need to go. It is safe to go right now, but if you don't come with us, there's a good chance you're going to get hurt, get shot. Stress to that. Okay. Tips for when law enforcement arrive. Remember, the average response is 11 minutes. Okay, so you've got to be able to respond, hold this person for 11, 12 minutes. Make sure your hands are empty when the police officers come in the room. Like if you barricaded and the officers work their way in, keep your hands like this so that they can see what's in your hand. We're trained to look for the hands. Like that. Yeah. So that they don't, because what they're looking for is they're coming in, we're scanning the room, and you guys don't look like suspects, but our adrenaline is pumping as well. And we're looking for a suspect, and we're not going to stop until we get a suspect. And so if you have something in your hands, I would hate to have an accident happen. So have nothing in your hands. Raise your hands up. If you have a locked door and the police are banging on the door, let me in, let me in. Do you let them in? What you do is you tell them, slide your ID card underneath the door, because you don't know if it's them. You don't know if it's the active shooter trying to get you to open the door. And have them slide their ID card underneath the door. They're not, police officers are not there to render aid. Sorry, we're not. We will step over a bleeding person. If our team goes in, one of our members gets shot, we're going to keep going. We're going to leave him. Sorry, it's what we do. We're not there to render aid. Because the longer it takes us to confront that active shooter, the more access he has to additional victims. So we're going to keep going until we encounter that suspect. You may be laying there, please help me, I don't want to die. They're not going to have a conversation with you. They're just going to keep going. It may sound cold and callous, but that's what they're trained to do, because if they don't, there's going to be a lot more victims. They won't answer questions. Their sole job is to confront that active shooter. Okay? All right, I need a volunteer to be my active shooter. Anybody besides my cadets? Anybody?
It was fine. I'm afraid.
Don't be afraid. It's a Nerf gun.
Have a chair thrown at me.
Any-
I genuinely
All right.
thought I was going to your chair thrown at me.
All right, go outside over here, and I will tell you to enter. Can we get that door shut?
Yes.
Oh, how you shoot is you pull this back, slide it all the way back, fire, slide it all the way back. You have to slide it back every time.
Cool.
All right? I'll come get you when we're ready. Okay. Same scenario. He's going to come in as an active shooter, but this time I'm going to give you something to throw at him.
Are they hard or soft?
And as the person goes through, everyone just screams. You're still
They are soft.
because no matter what
It won't hurt anything. Thank you. Come on. Okay. What this exercise is going to show you is, again, how quickly this unfolds. But if you have something, even something very soft, to throw at the person, it's going to make him react, and it's going to give you time to attack. I don't want anybody hurt, but if you want to grab them, that's fine. Don't grab them and throw them to the ground or hit them or anything like that. Or if you want to escape, escape. Okay? You guys ready?
I don't know if he's ready.
We're ready when you are. Yep. Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
He definitely shot you in three. He actually became.
All right, did you see? Well, first of all, what was it like from your aspect being an active shooter? What was that like for you? What was that like for you?
I don't want to say fun.
Was your adrenaline going?
Of course.
Yeah, and you knew it wasn't real, but your adrenaline's still going.
Yeah.
And when they threw the balls at you, did that distract you?
Yeah, definitely.
Made you think about it? Okay, you guys are throwing soft items at him. So even if you have something, just a sandwich, throw it. Whatever you have to distract this person, throw it. Yeah, whatever you need to do. If you have a pen, it sounds morbid, but hit him in the eye with a pen. I mean, this person wants to take your life. Whatever you can do to survive. Evacuate if you have to, encounter, throw things, throw a chair, whatever you have. Any questions? Any other questions? I like that. Very good. Thank you. I've never had somebody push me off balance so easily.
And that's why I say it, because if I was close enough to the person and I could get that push in there, it catches you off balance.
Yeah.
Must be pretty brave.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
If it was my class,
So in my office, I don't worry as much because that's where the bulk of my work is done, and I feel like I got a grasp on probably what my options are in there. But in Fountain Hall, in the center where we have drop-in hours that we have to sit at a desk and answer questions, the things that concern me most in there is that there can be people up above me that I might not even see, but knowing that they're up there, let alone coming in at the ground floor, we have a door at one end, but that end feeds out into the center of the building. It doesn't feed out into the walkway closest to the door that you could actually evacuate out of. So to me, that building feels very much like we're sitting ducks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you do there?
And typically those big size rooms, your cafeterias, your libraries, Fountain Hall, are prime areas for a suspect to go because typically there's a lot of people, there's not a lot of places to hide. And so what you need to do is have a plan. You're going to throw stuff at them. People are going to be running. You got to make a lot of noise so that people that can get, because he can't see everything. If I'm shooting over here, like say it's Fountain Hall, and I'm shooting, my back's to you. People have a chance to attack, to counter. Okay? You've got to throw stuff enough to distract them. If they're upstairs, hopefully people up there will distract them. And you're on the bottom stairs, get out of the building, run. Hopefully the people upstairs will have a chance to distract them and grab them. It's tough, but as long as what I would honestly do, and if you ever want us to walk through and kind of guide you guys as to if I were here, this is what I would do. If I were here, this is what I would do. We are more than welcome to do that. But like I said, if he's upstairs, honestly, shooting down a floor is a very, very hard shot to make, especially if you're a moving target. Now, if you freeze, yeah, he's eventually going to get you. But if you're running around, shooting up or shooting down is extremely difficult. Doesn't mean it can't be done. So what I'm saying is if he's on a different floor, then you run for cover. Hopefully the people on that floor have been instructed on what to do and will distract him and throw things and counter and grab it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. If he's on your floor, you got to be one of the ones to counter, to distract and get his attention
Yeah,
focused on something
inside that little ring is really just, it's a really bad spot. I don't know how else to say that. And
Yeah.
just because of where the exit point is, it literally puts you in the center of the building. So it's a really challenging spot to be in.
Yeah, it is.
And we have kind of a tall counter, so hard to get over it.
Yeah.
So.
Like I said, scream and run. Any other questions?
There was some talk in the library. Now, we're in a similar situation where you have a reference desk and a person comes in either one of those doors, you're the first thing they see. There was talk of having some sort of a button, some kind of a panic button under the desk or something. Has anything been done about that?
I can tell you, I'm working
Scared.
with the vice presidents on each campus. We're looking at panic buttons. We're looking at the mobile app. And we're trying to find the most effective way for you to communicate that you have needs, that you need help. And so my preference at this point, looking at some of these mobile apps, is it's the same as the button, only it's on your phone and you can move with it. So I would recommend some sort of an app.
The lanyard that Oxnard is using, they seem to be really happy with that.
They are really happy with
Is it
that.
not a cost-effective means?
It's very, very expensive. These mobile apps, I think, are less expensive. And I honestly think that you can get more information out on a mobile app than you can on the lanyard. Because I've had a lot of demonstrations given to me because everybody wants to sell me something. from these mobile apps. And I've had about 4 or 5 companies give me demonstrations. I haven't seen one that I love. I've seen a lot that are very good, but it's not everything I'd like to see, and I don't know that it's out there yet. So hopefully soon it'll be out there. But Rave Alert, that's the one that is being tried on, it's a year trial, and it's being tried on Ventura. And if that's successful, we might implement it district-wide.
Do we have one that we can try here on our college, because that gives us something to use in the meantime? Because right now, we have Oxnard that's using something, and Ventura is using something, but Moore Parkinson does not have anything.
Yeah. I can look at it. Maybe I'll get another company you guys can
You know what
try.
I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
we're sitting here waiting, but
Yeah.
the other two at least have some mechanism.
And just so you know, we're also looking at better locks for the doors, automated locking system, although that's really, really expensive. We're looking at maybe outer buildings, outer doors to buildings, being able to lock them from a computer, and then better locks for the interior doors and stuff like that. Better speaker system to notify everybody of what's going on. So we are working on these issues. Yes, ma'am.
Sharon was talking about the doors and the walls and stuff, and I'm thinking of my classroom because it goes into a hallway, like where the screen is now, and then it has that bank of windows. If I'm trying to put my students somewhere, I'm thinking, well, if I put them against that wall and the guy comes in, maybe some of them, like you said, that little kid could run out because they'd be there. But can bullets go through the walls?
Absolutely. Well, these walls are brick. You can get a rifle. A rifle round can go through brick. It depends on what they're carrying. It can go through an engine block. Okay, so there's a lot of rounds that can do that. Not everybody's carrying high-powered ammunition, and some of it will go through walls, some of it may not. But what I would do, if we were locking down this room, I'd tell them, okay, turn off the lights, and I would stack probably 4 guys here at the door, turn the lights out, and the door's barricaded, and I'd have my 4 people crouch down here. You don't want to stand up because this wall doesn't sound too thick. I know that one's brick, but I would crouch down because people tend to shoot at the level they point their gun. So you'd want him to crouch down here, and if he breaks through that barricade, you'd want him to attack, counter at that point, grab an arm. That's how I would do it.
Okay.
Yes?
So that was it. It's like put some people there because the other door or the other wall backs up like that wall to another classroom. And I'm thinking, well, if I put him there, as long as that other classroom is not broken into and he's not shooting toward that wall.
Yeah.
But then they're back up against the wall, and the only way to go out is the windows.
Most of your interior walls will be a drywall. A handgun can go through that. It won't stop many bullets. So your walls are not going to give you protection other than he may not know you're in there. That's your only protection. Barricade, and then, like I said, turn out the lights, and if they start getting through your barricades, have some people stacked there that can counter as soon as they make it through the door. Other people throwing things, screaming. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Is there actually any precedent for people countering an active shooter?
Yeah, not through this training, but yes, as you see, 13.1% of the active shooters are subdued by unarmed citizens. So yeah, somehow people have got to these people and were able to hold on to them until police got there. So yeah. And you know what? If you learn anything, do something. If you do nothing and you freeze. When you are confronted with a traumatic situation, you either fight, flight, or freeze. And a lot of people, students, because they haven't been trained, they're going to freeze. Some of your type A personalities may not do that. They may get pissed off and help you out. But fight, flight, or freeze. You don't want anybody to freeze. That's the worst thing somebody could do. At a minimum, screaming and throwing things and running around. That distracts them. Any other questions?
Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
I just think it's important for us to be aware that some of our students that we get here come for programs that have been involved in shootings. And I think it's important to review this training at the beginning because you're telling them, I know what to do. You're building some confidence, and some people have been in traumas that you're not aware of, and it's going to give you that understanding, because that may be that person that you're going to be spending someone, or have someone spend time with them if something goes on, in order to try and keep them calm and be okay. But you're going to know it ahead of time. But we do have students who have been traumatized, some who have been in active shootings, and we just need to be aware of that, and that they're coming here, and they're coming for different programs. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, convey your plan the first day of class. Let them know, reassure them, we have a plan. Doesn't mean we're not going to lose any lives, but it does reduce our risk of being shot. The other thing that you brought up, which made me realize or remember, is your active shooter could be in your classroom. Could be sitting in your classroom with a gun, and something you say could trigger them, and they say, that's it, I'm done. And so it can happen that fast. They just stand up, pull a gun out of their backpack, and there's your active shooter. So it happens like that. Be aware of that. Real quick, if you see student behavior that doesn't fit, okay, a student has been really, really quiet, and all of a sudden they're very obnoxious or loud, or vice versa, they're typically obnoxious and loud and want to ask questions, and all of a sudden they're quiet and they won't say a word. It's a sign. Let us know. Let somebody know. He's not acting right. Ask him, are you okay? You don't seem yourself today. Sometimes that's enough to make it think, somebody else noticed me. Guarantee you, 99% of these active shooters, there's a sign before they start shooting, before it gets to that point. They blog. Their behaviors are different. I should bring that video. There's a video of an active shooter where a kid's writing on his desk. I don't know if anybody's seen this. And he's writing to communicate with a girl who also goes to this desk in the library. And right behind him, you see a guy with a gun. And the first time they show the video, you don't see it. You know, and he's looking at things to make bombs on a library computer. Tell your students, take notice as to what's around you, what people are doing. What are they looking at? And I don't mean we need to walk up behind the students and say, what are you looking at? If it's bomb making or guns or something like that, you might want to do that. But we don't have to be in everybody's business, but we should pay attention to what people are doing. And your students should know this too, because, well, I don't want to report it. Maybe it's just for a class or it's doing some research or something. Say something. Let us know. It doesn't have to be we're going to take them down with our guns, but if we talk to them, it may alert them we're on to them.
So I was just asking in regards to Fountain Hall and front of the library, has there been any talk about any metal detectors or anything that would signal off if someone were bringing a weapon into primarily those areas that are fishbowls, that they're very vulnerable areas and areas where most active shooters will be. So just wondering if there's...
There has been some talk. I know there's some reluctancy to do that because we don't want this to look like a jail or, you know, occupying forces here. But I will bring that up again because that could help. Although it's not going to detect everything. If they've got a plastic-style gun, they have a bomb or something, it may not trigger it. Yes?
I know a lot of three professors that I've had, and one or two of them not being criminal justice major teachers. The first day of our class, they pick someone in the class to pretend to be an active shooter and have the students react like they normally would, so they kind of knew what to do if that situation happened, because it was like alive, kind of what you guys did today. They did it on the very first day of the class, and it seemed to help, because a lot of students didn't know what to do. But then actually putting it on, it helped them.
You have something with PTSD, though.
Yes.
I don't know that would be super appropriate. You might end up inciting an incident that you didn't intend.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those. What's wrong? What's your last name?
It's not my last. One thing I noticed, because I've taken a lot of classes here, I just graduated recently, so I've taken a class in like every building, everything. One thing I've noticed is a really common way of door hinge in a lot of our buildings is they have kind of like that elbow at the top of the door. A really good thing, like he said, with a bell or a wire or something you can find, if you tie it around that elbow, it doesn't let the door open. So you don't necessarily need to try to do a strength war with the person, because if you sit and lay down, like Chief said, it works. but sometimes you might get tired. If you just wrap it around that elbow and tie it, the hinge is doing the work for you in a sense.
Yeah, you know those.
And
Do you know those
manage it.
elbows she's talking about?
Yeah.
They expand as it's opening. What you do is you take a belt and you intertwine it, and you go in and out and in and out, and you pull it as tight as you can, and you want to push it as far towards the bigger end as you can, because if you're at the small end, it's easier to push it out. Whereas if you get toward the bigger end out here, it's harder for it to move. What I was talking about, if you lay down, is a door like that. If you have a belt, wrap it around that, hold onto it, and lay down and put your feet on the wall. And that, you could hold like that for a while. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of strength because they have to overtake your body weight, which is pretty difficult from what they have to pull. If anybody wants me to come talk to your class on this, give this presentation to your class, I would be more than happy to do that. Or if you want to get some other people together, we have this video now, or I can come speaking, whatever you prefer. But thank you all very much. Yes?
I just want to say again what one of your officers had said to my class about the first day. Ask if you have any people who are police officers or have been in the military, and they're your go-to guys. And that's the other thing that I found out, which helped when my evaluation came, and I had people sitting in the back row, and they said, well, you have these people sitting way in the back, why don't you bring them forward? And I said, there's people who have been in the military and who don't like things empty behind them,
Right.
or are police officers in training, and they don't want that space. And there's a reason they feel more comfortable there. So knowing that, you know, if you're trying to bring students forwards, they might not be happy being forwards because it's not their position of comfort.
Yeah.
So
I don't ever like my back to a door. It makes me very uncomfortable. So yeah, that's a good idea. And if you have any, I would ask that first day of class, any ex-military, any current military, any ex-law enforcement, any current law enforcement, and I would ask them at the end, they're supposed to let us know if they're armed. Campus police know. They don't always do that. They don't know the law. And so a lot of them may take classes and not notify us. So you may have somebody with a gun in your class. That's a good thing to know, because if you get confronted with that active shooter, you don't want to be jumping and screaming in front of this person, you know, while you're trying to distract an active shooter. You may want to get right behind them and say, yeah, you go get him. You got the gun. So it's a good thing to know. Although you wouldn't want to ask in front of the class, are you armed? You know, I would say, can I talk to my military and my law enforcement after class? And then, okay, are you armed? And this is my plan. If we have an active shooter, I'm going to need your help. And, you know, you wouldn't want to ask in front of the class, though. Any other questions? That was a good point. Anybody? Anyone? All right. Thank you all very much. I hope this was helpful.